your identity, how do you see yourself, bro?
I think first and foremost,
Yeah.
I think when you're Muslim, the first thing you should associate with is being Muslim, because
Mm.
that kind of circumvents all of your actions that you do in your life,
Yeah.
right? Like that's the as I can only talk from the perspective of someone who is Muslim. That
Yeah.
circumvents all the actions that you do in your life. So I have to associate that first of all as my that's my main identity, because
Yeah.
it kind of supersedes the importance of all the others.
Okay.
In terms of, I guess, how I also identify myself or how other people may
Yeah.
choose to identify me, I think that's important in terms of how you want to navigate the world. If you're
Okay.
someone, for example, in the West, or it could be any country where you look different to everyone, or you don't speak the same language, people might treat you different, or the
Yeah.
opportunities that you have access to are going to be different. So I think that's important to consider as part of your identity. But I think the most important thing for me when looking at myself is just to acknowledge that I'm Muslim, and that's the number one thing that I should use as like a guiding force between all my
Yeah.
decision making processes in life.
Absolutely. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. And do you sometimes feel that you're playing a role um, because of peer pressure or societal expectations? Do you feel that you have to live up to a certain particular identity? So that might look like that I need to be more masculine, I need to be more stronger, I need to be a certain way. Do you feel that you're pressured to be a certain role?
Yeah, I think I think everybody could definitely can see that how that plays into society today.
Yeah, yeah.
I think with social media as well, it exemplifies that, because you're
Mm,
seeing that on a wider scale basis. You're seeing not just people in your local area, what they have to
yeah,
say about things, what their perspectives are on things. You're seeing what people across the world are saying, and people are sort of having this worldwide, I guess, culture of perspective on what they think masculinity should be. But
yeah.
I feel like it just changes from era to era. The problem is
Okay.
nowadays is that things change so quickly that it's hard to really articulate what a man is, when I feel
Yeah.
like as a man you have to be so many different things depending on the circumstance or situation.
Okay.
It kind of gets convoluted and it gets confusing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, okay, wait. So, all right. On that point, how do you ground yourself? Because look, what you've said is that there's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of things that affect your identity, like cultural changes. The world is just changing as well. So, how do you ground yourself to stick with one solid identity, or just be grounded? What does that look like for you, bro?
Grounded. You
Yeah.
kind of have to control what influence you let into your life. Like when you're in
Okay.
school, you can't control who's in your class. You can't control the people around you. You kind of just have
Mm.
to tolerate whatever is around you, whatever you see. But
Yeah.
when you become an adult, when you become a man, you kind of choose your company. You can choose who you hang around with. You can choose who you choose to spend time with. So I think that's a big thing for people, is they ultimately, as an adult, as a grown man, you have a choice in terms of what
Yeah.
influence or what outside forces can affect you in your life. Even with social media, for example,
Mm.
you just, if you feel like it's having a negative impact on your mind, then you don't have to use it as much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Of course.
it's about controlling what, yeah, like what outside things are having a negative impact on your life. And if you mitigate it, then you'll find you're going to start to live life from your own perspective, and then you'll be able to make up your own mind about things as opposed to letting
Yeah.
the world dictate that decision making process for you.
Naomi, you know something? There's something that I've noticed about you, and it's this: you're quite aware of what's happening around you. How do you build that awareness up? Because a lot of youths or a lot of young men would just go through the momentum of life without really understanding what's going on around them. Like, how did you develop that awareness in terms of to know what's happening, bro?
One of the things that my dad always used to do with me when I was young is he used to
Yeah.
always have conversations about family members or about people
Ah.
that he knew. and he was
Yeah.
just very unfiltered. So he would just, I know you know this about my dad as well, like he's just very
Yeah.
unfiltered. He would just say things and he's very passionate about it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
when I was
Yeah.
young,
Definitely.
I knew things that most other people my age, their
Yeah.
parents weren't telling them.
Okay.
So I grew up knowing or aware of how people can be, I guess.
Ah. Okay.
And my dad was very open to talking about that. And also as well, when I was young, because my family is like from two different parts of the world and the cultures are
Yeah.
so different, you're seeing people from. When I was young, I saw people from a very varied degree of a very varied spectrum. So you're seeing
Yeah.
people who are living, I guess, a very simplistic way of life, and people who are living a very convoluted way of life. So there was
Yeah.
nothing that I wasn't aware of or that I didn't see. I saw
Yeah.
it all, and because I saw so much of it, it kind of made me know what it is that I want and what it is that I don't want. And then as I got older, I began to understand that okay, well, you can learn from other people's mistakes instead of just trying to like,
Mm.
you know, go through life, do whatever you want, make a
Mm.
mistake, and then try and learn from it. You can just not make the mistake in the first place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Got you. Naeem, I want to ask you something about that, bro. See, do you think, like, say, if your father didn't play that role in your life, do you think it would have been a bit more difficult to just navigate and understand people and cultures, or do you think that you could have figured out it for yourself?
Yeah, I wouldn't. There's a lot of things I wouldn't have understood, and
Yeah.
I also probably wouldn't have had a lot of boundaries as well.
Ah,
I wouldn't
okay.
have had because my yeah, I wouldn't have. There was a lot of things that my dad would do that would allow me to understand other people's boundaries in terms of
Mm,
how I treat people. So in terms of not having, if I wasn't to have my dad around, I think it would have
mm.
made me. I feel like there's a part of me I wouldn't have understood. And I
Okay.
think if I don't understand that part of me, then I would have gone outside in the world looking for it. But, you know, my dad is ultimately going to have my best interest in mind.
Yeah.
Somebody else out there who's my friend or who's some
Yeah.
other person may not. So where
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
could have led me, I don't know.
Yeah. I get that. I get that. Naeem, you know, you sound quite close to your dad. I mean, can I ask you something about that? How did you and your dad become close? Like, what made your relationship quite strong? Because it sounds like as if that you've shared quite intimate moments in terms of like personal life experiences and like um, there sounds like that you're quite fortunate to have that kind of relationship with dad to give you that kind of guidance and that. Like when I was speaking to your dad, he mentioned one thing about just touching base from time to time with you just to see how you are, just have these kind of conversations. On your end, how do you keep that relationship, the communication?
We just talk. I mean, if we're in the same
Mm,
home, we're gonna talk to each
yeah.
other. It's harder to avoid someone you're living with than
Okay.
to not just have a relationship with them. I mean, to me, I
Wait,
don't even really understand.
Naim,
I
sorry,
don't understand.
sorry.
Yeah.
Let, let me just interject. Okay, so I'll give you an example. In addition to what you were saying, okay, so say I'm living with my son, but we don't see eye to eye, and we'll be in completely different rooms. But you
Mm-hmm.
and your dad was able to bridge that gap. So
Mm-hmm.
what are the sort of things that you done? What are the sort of things that did he do to just come together to connect to communicate? Yeah,
To be honest with you, I'll be honest. I couldn't say one specific thing. It's just
yeah.
because we live together and we're in the space together, and we both look after the home. We both just do things.
Mm.
You just kind of. I don't know how to explain it. I guess I can't really understand how it could work the other way. You know
Okay.
what I mean?
Okay.
The same way someone might say to me, "How do you have a relationship with your dad?" It's the same way I could ask somebody else, "How would you not have a relationship with your dad?" It's
Okay.
just how it is. You live together, you eat together. That's a big thing with my family as well.
Mm.
We all eat
Yeah.
together. So there's things like that.
Yeah.
Um, and just by doing that, that's how we have to have a relationship. Otherwise, if we
Wait.
didn't, then
Wait, so okay, let me go a bit more further. Okay, so you eat together. I assume you
Mhm.
pray together.
Yeah, when we get the
Um,
opportunity, we'll do that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
we just, it could just be anything. It could be like,
Uh,
you just, when you're in the home with someone, to me at least, I feel like it's disrespectful to if somebody's in the home and, for example, it could just be you coming back from outside and you don't say hello
mm,
or you don't
yeah,
say
yeah,
good morning or,
yeah.
it's just things like you get into the habit of it from young and then
Okay,
that's how it bridges, I guess, gaps of communication. But I
okay.
can't imagine it being any other way.
Yeah, yeah,
Like I couldn't imagine living
yeah.
with someone who I don't ever talk to. Like it doesn't that
Wow.
wouldn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean, Naeem, do you know what? I asked you that question because there's a lot of disconnect with youths, with also young men and fathers because of the social media. Yeah, and that's one of many of the reasons that can cause isolation. You could be in the same household, but totally isolated from each other because, look, you could be on the phone, you can be on the laptop and that, but you've managed you and your father managed to connect, to communicate, and have real life human experiences together to grow together. So that's why I asked you that. It was I want to find out what sort of habits do you incorporate. So that's quite interesting that you actually said that you found it really weird to not do that. But in this society,
Yeah.
it's the opposite. It's like it's so normal just to be on your phone, to be isolated. It's how people are just navigating their life, their relationships. But it
Mm-hmm.
comes across like as if that you're keeping things raw, you're keeping it real, you're keeping it humanized. You see what I'm saying? Not even
Yeah.
computerized, but humanized. And that's those sort of things I'm trying to get to. How do we get to that place? How do we reestablish something that is so real and natural again? Because we've just come away from the cause of real life human interaction with dialogues. But that's really interesting that you said that because you're operating from the opposite in terms of having real life communication and connection with dad. So that's really interesting that you said that. Naeem, okay, so in regards to your journey, the man that you was before, how do you know, Naeem? You're what, 20 something or
21.
21? Okay, from the Naeem that was 16 to the Naeem that is 21 now, what changed, bro? What's shaped you um by the man that you are today?
From when I was like probably 16, I mean, I guess a lot of things have changed.
Yeah.
A lot of things I feel like sometimes haven't. But I would say
Okay.
for me, I would say that's actually a good question. There's a lot to talk about there. I feel like you see, you hear, and you experience so much, and over time, incrementally, it changes you. It's
Okay.
hard to say one particular moment which has changed me. I would say it's a bunch of life experiences that I've had that have
Yeah.
shaped me into where I am today. The
Okay.
number one thing that I would say was different about me at that age was that my environment was much more. When you're in school, right?
Yeah.
Everything pretty much is done for you. You go to class, you get homework,
Yeah.
even socializing is done for you, right? So
Yeah.
when you're a young man, or when I believe you're a man from the moment from the moment you go through puberty. But
Yeah.
when you're in school, you pretty much your life is pretty much done for you.
Okay.
You're productive just because you go to school, and you don't have to apply to go to school. You just go to school. You make friends while you're at school. Your routine is created more or less at school. When you become a man at this age now,
Mm.
everything you have to do for yourself. So in terms
Okay.
of how I feel differently between now and then, what I realize
Yeah.
now as an adult is that I have to be the one to put more effort into seeing my friends when I see them. I have to be the one to put effort into pursuing my goals, or I have to be the one to create my own deadlines, or I have to be the one to try and structure my own routine and create things for myself to go and chase. And I feel like going through that process is difficult because because I went to sixth form up until I was about 18 at the same school, and then when you go into the real world, you're like, oh my goodness, I have to do all of this by myself.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like, and I didn't go to university
yeah.
as well, so it's kind of like you come out of school and there's this big change of realizing I have to do everything on my own. And with a lot of people my age, some people handle it better than others, but overall, it is a struggle
Yeah,
for everyone.
yeah, 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 yeah,
So
cool.
I would say for me, it's just the number one thing that has changed about me is that I'm realizing I have to be a lot more independent than I thought I would have to be. I guess,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you think that's a good thing that you actually needed that to develop into a man? Would you say those things helped you?
I would say I say the transition period.
Yeah.
It's two aspects to it.
Okay.
I feel like when you're at school, you get treated like you're. I was having this conversation with my friends, but when you're at school,
Yeah.
you get. It's almost like it stunts your growth. Imagine
Okay.
if I would be thinking how I am now, I could have been thinking like this when I was 15, 16, if the circumstances matched what it was I was going through at that age. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if from a young age you're teaching men to be independent at an earlier point, even while they're at school or at their younger age, by the time they reach, their 20s, they would have
Yeah.
already more adjusted to that sort of life environment. Or
Yeah.
you have a system where things are more structured, right? But the problem is
Yeah.
that nowadays things are becoming less structured because seemingly, in order to be financially stable, you
Yeah.
have to be almost financially, or you always have to be economically ambiguous. It's
Okay.
almost like the normal structure of going to university and getting a job cannot financially sustain you, but
Yeah.
being an influencer can. But everyone's
Okay.
journey on entrepreneurship or influencing is different. So
Yeah. Yeah.
the struggle or the difficulty um, for a lot of men at this age is knowing what they want and structuring their life to go and achieve it.
Right. Right. Oh, all right. So in addition to what you said, how do you remain disciplined right now, Naeem, and how do you stay consistent through the struggles?
Mm.
How do you do that? How are you
No
doing
one
that?
is perfectly
Yeah.
disciplined,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So discipline is like a spectrum. It's
Mm.
like because like people say, oh, discipline is. It's like it's hard because no human being really and truly. People might pretend like they're really disciplined. They really got it,
Yeah.
but most pretty much everybody isn't fully disciplined. There's a spectrum, right,
Yeah.
of people. There's a spectrum where people, I guess, fit along the discipline line. But one thing I would say for me is, I mean, I started praying when I was quite young.
Yeah.
So that what that taught me was that you do an action repetitively, regardless of how you feel at any given moment, right?
Yeah.
That has taught me from a very young age, and as I've gotten older, it's helped me to understand what I guess a routine in doing a particular action every single day actually looks like.
Yeah.
But in terms of um, finding ways of becoming more disciplined, it's just I feel like it's really situational, right?
Okay.
Like I've seen people who come from who are disciplined because because of their circumstances before, and because they
Yeah.
were so willing to change those circumstances, they changed them because they had to. And then
Okay.
I've seen people who have come from positions where they were in a really good place, they could have done really well, but because things were easier for them, what reason did they have to be disciplined?
Okay.
I can't specifically say one thing is going to work for this person and that thing is going to work for that person, but you kind of have to have a reason in order to be disciplined, if you know what I mean.
Ah, I'll
And
get that. I'll get that.
everyone's circumstance that leads them to really wanting something is going to be different. So it's hard to
Hmm.
say one particular thing, you know.
Yeah.
That's the only answer I could give, really.
No, that's good. Okay. All right. So, okay. So there's a lot that's going on around us. What's something that you're struggling internally, Naeem, to just get? get an understanding of what something that people don't notice. Like, what is that internal thing that Naeem is struggling like to figure out? Especially all those things that you just mentioned there, Naeem. What do those challenges look like?
For me, I would say it's knowing what it is that I really want
Okay.
and understanding. Because one thing you get to understand about life when you've
Yeah.
pursued something for a little while is that with the way the world works nowadays and seeing so many different people and seeing so many different things, it's easy to want this thing and want
Yeah.
that thing and want, oh, I want this as well and I want to achieve that as well. But
Yeah.
the problem is that that means you end up stunting your ability to even achieve one thing, right?
Yeah.
So for me, my main internal struggle right now is making sure that with the things that I said I wanted before, do I still want
Yeah.
those things now? And if I get lazy or I slack off on
Mm.
something that I've chosen, does it mean that I really want that thing? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of, I don't know. It's hard to really describe, to be
Mm.
honest with you. I feel like regardless of what you're doing in life, I feel like you're always gonna feel a sense of like emptiness with that thing.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's a good question. I
I
need
mean,
to probably
but, but in saying that now, I mean, how do you see yourself now then, Naeem? Like,
how I see
with
myself now.
what you just said, yeah.
Hmm. I would say I see myself in a position where I feel like as long as I push forward, things will get better.
Mm.
But going through the process of trying to make the change in your life is always significantly harder in practice than it is just how
Saying
you
it, yeah.
perceive it psychologically.
Mm.
So it's like when you're actually going through and are trying to make that change, a lot of times it's like it can become quite overwhelming, or you become impatient um,
Yeah.
with how things are going. So that's probably one. Sorry, what was the question again specifically?
No worries, no worries. I'm like, so how do you see yourself now? Like, yeah,
Oh,
like especially with
in terms
with
of,
what's been happening around you, what you've
mhm.
realized. Yeah.
I would say, yeah. In terms of, I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I see myself on the journey towards where I want to be,
Yeah.
but it's reminding myself that going through the things that I'm going through now is ultimately what's going to get me there.
Okay.
But it's hard to see how that's going to get you there when you're in the struggle, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
That's
Naive,
how I
but
see myself right now.
has there been has there been a moment where something just clicked, where it made sense? You think, you know what? Okay, I got it. You know, like, have
Mm.
you had those moments before?
I've had those moments,
Yeah.
and then later on I realized, oh, I don't fully understand it.
Okay.
And then I feel like I understand it again, and I understand it maybe a bit better than before, and then I
Yeah.
don't fully understand it, and I'm like, oh, I don't understand it. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's impossible to fully. I feel like I can't say I fully understood anything,
Yeah.
but at the same time, the more I know, the incrementally better I become
Okay.
if I'm able to apply what I know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. And in regards to the way that you've had those moments. All right. So you've had those moments that you realize this, but okay. So do you think when it comes down to masculinity, how do you see yourself, Naeem? What does that look like to you now? Like this, the Naeem that I'm speaking to you, to. How do you see yourself as a man, as someone who's masculine? How do you see yourself, bro?
I mean,
What?
I'm a man. I mean, I it's hard. Sorry.
Yeah, go on, Naeem.
Oh no, I was gonna say yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a man. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like it's hard to say like um, because obviously you get all these people on the internet that
Yeah.
will try and tell you what being a man is and masculinity. But
Yeah.
with people on the internet, you can't really trust them because you don't know who they really are, and more
Okay.
often than not, who they really are is different than you know who they portray themselves to be. I
Mm.
guess the biggest example you can take from is if you have a father figure at home, because that's the
Yeah.
person you
Got
get to see
you.
most of.
Yeah.
You understand, what the day to day, I guess, struggle is and day to day life going through the motions are. But
Yeah.
in terms of how I see where I see myself, I try not to let what society tells me I should
Mm.
be, and try to let first of all my faith tell me what I should be,
Mm.
and then just sort of lead with that, because it's like no matter what, standards are gonna keep changing. Like we can,
Absolutely.
you can talk about it from men's standards. You can even talk about it from women's standards. Like it
Yeah.
keeps changing. 1 minute it's this. One minute, you see what I'm saying? They want this. Next minute,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? A man is this, and a man is that. It's like it doesn't even make sense anymore. There's not like one
Mm.
consistent framework, at least from what people are saying of what a man should be. So it's hard to say from a societal perspective whether I fit into that framework. I can only really derive
Yeah.
that from my faith. It, how I fit into that in terms of society or how people view me, or whether I qualify as a man enough, I don't particularly care,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Of course. I
yeah, that's
mean,
just how I see it.
Naeem, in terms of what you just said about becoming a man, I mean, what kind of a man are you aspiring to become? You personally, like, so you've seen so many different, people and descriptions of what a man should be. But what about you? What kind of man are you personally trying to become, Naeem?
I'm personally trying to become. To be honest with
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
because I think I'm already that man. I'm
okay,
just living through the life experiences that are going to amalgamate it to a degree that makes it manifest into reality,
yeah, got
right?
you.
So I don't see it as me becoming something. I feel like in order for me to get there, I have to go through the difficulties, which means I'm already capable at the point now. But in
Mm,
terms of who it is that I'm trying to be more like,
yeah,
I guess really and truly, it can only really be the prophets of, you know, the faiths. Really, it can only really and
yeah,
truly be the prophets of the faiths, because that really and truly applies for all time. I can't I can't try to be somebody else that isn't that, because otherwise it's just pointless, because you're not somebody else, you're you,
mm,
and God created you to fulfill a purpose. So it's like you can only really take God's advice on what a man should be if he created men itself.
mm,
So in terms of describing what that is in detail,
yeah,
that I guess takes, I guess, I guess protector and provider. Um,
yeah,
I guess how that is translated to people nowadays, I think it's a bit is misconstrued, or people misunderstand those concepts.
yeah.
I guess also just being a general, just decent person. Yeah, that's how I see it really.
Mm. All right, okay. Naeem, okay. So say, for example, this Naeem that I'm speaking to right now. Okay, if you were to advise the older you, I mean the younger you, what advice would you say to yourself, bro? So what would the present Naeem
The
say?
younger version of me.
Yeah. What would that advice be? What would you say to your younger self, bro?
What The number one thing I would say to my younger self would be
Mm,
just you know have a I guess to have a realistic expectation of what life is, and
mm,
ultimately to just, I don't know. It's hard to say. That question is always so difficult, because the whole point of going through life as well is that you learn things as you go along. So
Yes.
if the
Yes.
older version, if version of me was to tell that younger version of me something, the version of me now knows that thing because of what I've gone through,
Yes.
right? And in many ways, that's kind of the whole point of a father and a son, is that ideally, your father's gone through something, you're most likely going to go through yourself. So
Mm.
he's the one who can actually do that for you in a realistic sense.
Yeah.
But as children, what ends up happening is that you oftentimes you don't want to acknowledge the advice of your parents. You think you know everything, so
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
kind of have to go through the thing of trying to think that you know everything, and then you don't. Okay, you make the mistake, and then you try and learn from it.
Yeah.
So for me to tell myself, if I was young and I saw a future version of myself, um, I don't know. I don't know how that interaction would go.
No, no,
To be
but I'll
honest.
tell you what, Naeem, you actually answered that indirectly, because that's really interesting what you just said, and you kept it real, because there's no set answer. Then go growing through the experiences yourself. It's like what you said. Like,
Mm,
first of all, that you think that you know it all, that you don't have the experience, and then that you got to make the mistakes, you got to learn from it. Um, yeah,
mm,
it's like that. Like life humbles you through each stage, that you think that you know it, and then you
yeah.
realize, actually, that I've made this mistake. I need to correct myself, and it's just, and you can't prevent that from happening, bro, because like what you said,
Yeah.
as you're going through the process, you're gonna make the mistakes. You've not got everything figured out. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's so true. Yeah, I guess that you can't. It is quite a difficult one to answer, because you can't just give one set example. I mean, an answer.
And
It's one of the ones where you got to experience it yourself, and try and figure things and understand. But in saying that, what I would say is, there's an interesting point that you had said, is um, the future self can also be your father
mm,
that is playing the younger self, because
mm,
you came from your father, and it's like, what you've just said. He's got a lot more life experiences and stuff, and he's gone through similar things that I've gone through. So he's the next best person to say and to guide me this way. But it's like what you said. Sometimes it's one of the ones where you got to allow a person to grow and figure things out for themselves. But at the same time, the guidance is there if
mm.
you like sort of slip, or if you need that extra tweak along the way. It is, yeah. You're gone. You was gonna say something.
I think as well, like if I was to, yeah, no, I was gonna say like if the younger version of me was to take every single possible piece of advice that the older version of me would give, or the me version
Yeah,
of me now would give, and I was to give the younger version of me, it's like if I was to give the younger version of if I was to tell the younger version of me, oh, invest in Bitcoin, right?
yeah, yeah,
It's like it kind of unfairly it unfairly it kind of breaks life. Because if I could give the younger version of me any advice, I'm sure most people would say something like that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
It's like, oh, invest in Bitcoin or invest in this thing that's gonna skyrocket. But then if the young version of me did that, and the younger version of me made a bunch of money, then the younger version of me that would eventually grow and have all that money wouldn't. It would be a completely different version of me with new troubles and new experiences and different things
Yeah,
that would be unforeseen, and it's like, well, I'll just expose myself to more issues. They'll just be different because they're not the ones I'm going through now. So I don't know.
that's a really interesting point, because yeah, it's so true. It's you can guide someone a certain way, but there's always going to be other challenges, unforeseen things that you still have to
Yeah,
grow through. Yeah, yeah, I get that. I think that's a really interesting point. I actually didn't think of it like that as well, because it's not just about giving someone the set answer. Here's the answer. Do this, and you'll be okay. But okay, that I do
mm.
this, and then all of a sudden something else pops up, like
Yeah,
another challenge,
exactly,
another,
and you wouldn't
like,
be able to.
yeah.
If
So I guess, regardless, whatever you tell your younger self, that you still have to navigate challenges. You still have to Like there's some things that we can't even predict ourselves, that you may take a different course of life, and all of a sudden that you're presented with a new challenge that you've not quite developed the skills yet, but you have to go through that
Yeah,
to get those
exactly.
skills. Yeah, yeah. No, no, I hear that. I hear that. That's really interesting. Very, very interesting. Naeem, okay. Before we go, I want to ask you something. Okay, um, so people tuning in, what one advice would you give to the youth, to yeah, what would that one piece of advice would you give to the youth to help them navigate life? Um, yeah, what would that one piece of advice look like, bro?
Piece of advice I'd give to the youth
Mm,
is there's too many things.
yeah,
But to simplify it, I guess in the best way is, I
yeah,
guess, try and always be in an advantageous position. Obviously try and be healthy. If you're in school, work hard in school. Or if you're
yeah,
doing something else, work hard in that thing. Obviously, that's sort of a general piece of advice.
yeah,
But also, I'll probably let them know. The advice that I would give someone is, make sure, focus on what you want specifically, and understand that you can't achieve everything in life. Like, you can't have
yeah,
everything.
yeah,
Like, people live life thinking that they can have everything. Like, people will say something crazy like, "Oh, I want to get in shape, but I don't want to eat healthy." Or
yeah,
people will say
yeah,
things like, "Oh, I want to start a business and make a bunch of money, but I don't want to work like super
yeah,
hard." It just doesn't really make sense. Like, everything in life comes with a downside.
yeah,
So it's about knowing what you really want and accepting all the upsides and downsides that come with that thing, and just
mm,
learning to when you have one thing that you want, focus on that thing and complete it, and don't just say
okay.
you want something and then not really, you sort of be, you know,
So it
half-hearted
sounds like
with that if you really want something.
to be so there's a couple of things that I've picked up from what you just said. There is one of them is to be consistent. The second thing is to wait. So how would you get to a point of knowing what you want? Does it require you to just try different things, try and figure things out, but then when you find something, stick to it? Is that what what you're trying to say?
I mean,
Or
it's hard to determine. Um,
yeah,
when I say that, um, because yeah, that's also a good point. You can't really fully know what you want until you try a bunch of different things, and then you sort of figure
yeah,
things out along the way. Um, you just kind of you I don't know. That's actually a good point. I wouldn't know. But at the
yeah.
same time, the difficulty in doing that is that you end up taking time. You end up spending so long figuring out what you want without taking any action. But at the same
Ah,
time,
okay.
action also helps define you knowing what you want. So, for example, like, let's just
Mm,
say someone decides, "Oh, I want to become, I don't know, they want to become really good at a sport, or they want to make it
mm,
in a sport." Okay, cool. They don't make it in a sport, but because they were training a lot, they got really healthy, they got really in shape.
mm.
Oh, well, now I can become a personal trainer. You get what
Okay.
I'm saying? So it's like them taking action has helped them in being more decisive about what they want further on down the line. You know what I mean?
Wow. Wow. So it's like it's okay. So let's say, for example, there's loads of choice out there. Pick one, be consistent at it, stick to it, because even if you if it's not the thing that you want, but at least that you've developed that thing of consistency. At least that you're a lot more focused. You're a lot more you you're more likely to have a better idea of what to do next, because you even picked up other skills
Yeah,
along the way because of the fact that you're consistent.
exactly.
So which can carry
Yeah.
over into other things. That makes sense, bro.